Welcome back to the Tragedy of British Pro Cycling, Volume 19, otherwise known as Team Ineos Grenadiers' latest misadventures at the Tour de France 2025. Once feared, revered, and dressed in black like the Death Star, Ineos now finds itself more akin to a confused group of cyclists who accidentally wandered into a group World Tour race and are trying to bluff their way through it all with a stiff upper lip, a power bar, and a Durant Thomas last remaining cartilage. Leading this beautifully doomed charge, none other than Durant Thomas, a name that might sound like a distant cousin of the Welsh hero. Yep, it is him. Sort of, just upgraded with more wrinkles, deeper size, and the resigned wisdom of a man who has seen too much carbon fibre in his life. Let's talk about this 2025 Tour de France, where Durant Thomas, at a sprightly age of 39, is officially the oldest man in the race. He's not just racing cyclists now, he's racing time, gravity, and the cumulative trauma of 17 years of team bus playlists. Durant versus the breakaway, an epic told in sad quotes. Let's dive into the dramatic theatre of Durant Thomas's tour so far, starting with his tragic solo performance, trying to break the peloton. Spoiler alert, he did not break the peloton, but he did break into a soft jog of psychological acceptance. Here's Durant reflecting on one of his doomed escaped attempts. Quote, "It was a bit of a big fight for the break, so it was kind of like, okay, I'll try, because if it's a decent size, then you never know." This is what happens when your entire tour strategy is just vibes. You never know. That's what you say before buying a lottery ticket, not while trying to drop Tadej Pogačar. Durant has adopted the British dad on camping trip mentality. Oh, we'll give it a go, kids. Might be fun. Except instead of marshmallows, he's being grilled by UAE Team Emirates and Mathieu van der Poel over a Alpecin Dupersinek. Here's another poetic gem from Durant. Quote, "You could tell that UAE and Alpecin wanted to control, but just because someone wants to control, you don't let them." Adorable. That's like saying, just because a lion wants to eat you doesn't mean you let them. Durant, my man, you don't let UAE and Alpecin control the race, they just do. And you're the one chopping off the front like a man trying to wrestle a crocodile with a teaspoon. And then comes the quote that should be carved on the Ineos team bus in bold Comic Sans. Quote, "In the end, it was only 5 of us, and they didn't give us any time. It was just lambs to the slaughter, mate. Sir, you are the led lamb, and the slaughter, it's the 18-year-olds from UAE development team riding tempo while sipping espresso." Chopping off into oblivion. In another illuminating moment of existential honesty, Durant added, quote, "Well, you've just got to accept it. You could ride hard and try and make it harder for them, but then you just dig yourself into a hole anyway, so it's kind of like you just keep chopping off and hoping that you just go deep." This is cycling, but it's also a therapy session. Durant is no longer racing, he's processing grief. Chopping off and going deep used to mean attacking with precision and power. Now it means taking turns on the front until your soul departs your body. You can almost hear the sighs of the Ineos team radio. "Durant, maybe don't go again. You're in 34th place overall." "Nah, lad, got nothing else to do, innit?" It's like watching a knight charge a tank with a sword made of toast. Results so far, the sad spreadsheet of ambition. Let's take a look at Team Ineos' glittering results so far. Durant Thomas currently 23rd on GC, somewhere between forgotten French wildcard and guy who used to win races. Carlos Rodriguez was a dark horse, is now just a horse, sitting around 18th place. So he's overall 18th, and occasionally visible in helicopter shots, rarely in front of them. Ethan Hayter, great at prologues. Unfortunately, this is a 3-week war, not a Zwift sprint challenge. Egan Bernal, still recovering from every crash since 2021, looks heroic, rides heroically, finishes anonymously. Team Ineos has essentially become the honour guard of cycling. present at all major battles, but not expected to win them. Future stages, the road to further disappointment. Looking ahead, we ask, can Team Ineos do anything in the mountains? Yes, they can. Launch a doomed attack 87 k's from the finish? Gain 12 seconds briefly? Be reeled in by UAE's third-string domestique? And finish the day with the post-stage quote, "Yeah, we gave it a nudge, innit? Good try." Mountain stages are now Durant's worst nightmare. His attack energy seems to be launch early, pray for carnage, hope Pogacar gets stuck behind a cow. Unfortunately, even the cows in this tour are faster than Ineos domestiques, and the time trials, yeah, not so good. The mental gymnastics of staying positive. Now let's admire Durant's psychological tricks, not against his rivals, but against reality. Quote, "It's been a tough race, and as you see, it's being dominated by a few teams, but we've got to keep trying." A few teams? Durant, this race has been fully colonized by UAE and Alpecin. They are the East India companies of Watts. You're riding with bayonets against drones. And, quote, "keep trying." That's not a strategy. That's parenting advice for a toddler learning to walk. But alas, it's also the Ineos master plan. They talk about, quote, "racing aggressively" and, quote, "throwing the kitchen sink at it." But every time they throw the sink, UAE just installs it into their luxury team bus. The Ineos team chat must look like, "let's attack early. They'll chase us. Still worth it. Why? Just vibes." Remember when we were great? Let's rewind to a simpler time. Remember when Ineos used to control entire races with their infamous mountain train? Oh boy, those glory days when Chris Froome and Durant Thomas made the Alps look like turbo trainer workouts. Well, now the only train Ineos is operating is a heritage steam locomotive, puffing smoke, making noise, and being slowly overtaken by bullet trains. Durant Thomas is like a museum piece on wheels, noble, experienced, photogenic in sepia tone, but no match for Pogacar on a full-gas recon stage with a disc wheel and a thirst for chaos. The real role of Ineos in 2025. Let's face it, Ineos isn't here to win anymore, they're here to narrate. They provide the sound bites, the soul, and relatable dad quotes. Pogacar wins the stages, Vingegaard haunts the mountains, even Remco has moments of brilliance like in the time trial. But Durant, he brings British humility, poetic resignation, and the ability to say things like, "we just keep chopping off and going deep." It's so profoundly useless that it's art. What's next for Durant Thomas? After this tour, Durant will host a podcast called Chopping Off with G, release a book titled You Never Know, Tales Back from the Breakaway, become a DS for Ineos and spend every team meeting saying, "just give it a nudge, lads." And in a few years, he'll probably pop up in a GCN documentary, biking across Wales on a gravel bike, reminiscing about when he tried to drop Pogacar, quote, "just for the banter." Final thoughts. Ineos, the great tryhards. Team Ineos in 2025 is a cautionary tale, proof that you have millions in budget, science in your back pocket, and custom wind tunnels, and still get cooked by a Slovenian guy and a Dutchman with a mullet. There are the embodiment of British optimism, eternally hopeful, vaguely competent, and consistently outmatched. So here's to Durant Thomas, the eternal trier, the man who remembers better days. He didn't just race, he chopped off, went deep, and hoped for the best. And in the end, that's not a winning strategy, but it's beautifully British. Thanks for watching today's video. If you're new, please subscribe, leave a like on today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.